and welcome to our What's Your Story podcast. I'm Missy Day.
I'm Michelle Housebeck.
And I am so excited for our next guest. So you were like our second podcast guest, I think.
Wow.
When we first started this. And so he's back again. So we have a lot to talk about. But first, so as I teased on Facebook today, we were doing a podcast today with Gerard, and he has a special announcement. Well, we have an announcement.
I think I'm being voluntold.
Yeah,
here.
that would be voluntold.
Yes.
So if you were at What's Your Story, you know what a great job Gerard did being our MC. He just took the whole event to a whole other level, and everybody is just talking about what a great job you did being the MC. And so, so what else do you do when somebody's awesome at What's Your Story? So he's a part of our team now. So I'm very excited to announce that Gerard has joined us in the What's Your Story team family.
Hey, we need to applaud that, right?
Yeah,
I
where's
am
the
so
applause?
excited. Do we have an applaud sound
We
effect?
do, but of course I can't find it, and I don't want to hit the
Far right, maybe?
one.
No.
Oh, there we
There
go.
we go.
That would be the clapping
The
hands.
roaring crowd, right?
Our studio audience.
No, I am so excited, and I shared with you previously that I think I got as much out of that event as anyone else who attended and anyone else who was there. Honestly, I didn't really know what to expect, but that was part of the beauty of it all. And I think, it's so organic and so raw. There really isn't a script to this, and that's part of what makes it so effective and so unique and reaches so many people. So you asked me once before who was my favorite speaker. I don't have one because there were several who had stories that resonated with me. Going into it, I remember you told me, oh, well, it's an all-day event. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have an attention span about 2 minutes long, 5 minutes long. I could do a 2-hour event. And I thought, there's no way, I'm going to be engaged for this full day. And not only was I engaged, but I didn't really want to leave. I wanted to chat with people and hear more, even though we had spent the whole day there. That's the kind of event that this is. And that's partly why I'm happy to be a part of it.
We're so thrilled that you're going to be a part. And I think, listening to Harrison, who was on before you, talking about not going in with any expectations because you don't know what's going to happen, I think lends even more to the event. Because I think if we were like tried to put it in a box and tell people this is, I think it just takes away from the moment.
Right.
And that's interesting because Missy and I have tried, for years, right, to describe what your story is. And I think towards the end, right before this one, I just stopped trying, and I was like, you have to come to experience it because it is hard to put it in a box because it doesn't fit in a box.
I think people might get the misconception that it's a motivational, event, or it's a
Right.
motivational conference. Those are often sort of scripted, and this, you have a variety of people coming in on various platforms with various backgrounds and giving us their stories, and it's just exactly how you say it. It's very hard to put it into a box, what exactly it is. But you will be inspired. You'll be motivated. You might shed a tear or two, but you'll
Laugh.
leave a changed person and a better person, I believe.
Thank you very much. So I think people get to your point of all day. I think when people see the times, of the event, I think people are thinking, oh, great, 8 hours of listening to people talk.
Right. It's not really, and I was a little surprised too. I mean, you're seated at a comfortable table. There's meals provided. It's a beautiful facility, bathrooms. You can get up and move around if you need to. And there's break time between the speakers, and there's enough variety that there really is no opportunity to get bored or tired or humdrum about the event at all. It's action packed, it's emotion filled, and there's a flow to it. There's a continuity that just occurs naturally.
It goes by, I mean, even being I've been an attendee and then part of it, it goes by so fast
Right.
that you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
And my husband was one of those where he's like, I have to come all day.
Right. I was too. I love Missy. I love both
Yeah.
you guys. But I was secretly thinking, wow, a full day.
And
You
he
know.
didn't, he said the same thing. He said, I was engaged the whole time. You can stand up if your back hurts for a second, right?
Sure.
It's not that scripted. And it went by so fast and enjoyed every second of it.
I think one of the benefits too is that everyone will have a takeaway, whether you're a speaker, whether you're a part of the program, or you're an attendee for the first time listening to something that, maybe you identify with the story that's being told in some way or another. You might identify with the first and last speaker, or the first and third, or maybe just the first person or the first two. It doesn't matter. You're going to walk away with something. And I think the point goes that really everyone has a story. Everyone has a story to tell.
Yeah.
And, once you get to that point where you're brave enough to just kind of, share it and be unfiltered. I don't mean cuss words or anything like that, but unfiltered in such a way that you're not afraid to share real life experience. Something happens. Something magical happens
Right.
because
Magic.
if you think about it, a lot of the media world is sort of scripted. Commercials are scripted.
Kind of.
Okay, very scripted.
Sorry.
Communication is about more than just words. It's not what you say, but it's how you say it. And if there's a genuine raw component to it, I think it's a connecting factor, and that's where people tune in, and that's what we have in What's Your Story. So
Exactly. And I think the cool thing, well, I mean, you know how I feel about the whole thing. It's like my baby passion thing, but it's the magical stuff that happens after or during, or people that talk about it after, and they tell their stories, just like how the people came together, the photographer who wasn't really supposed to be there and who ended up being so encouraged by the stories. Our speaker, Dean Smith, who's a professional, and he's like, I need to come back and I need to be with that group of people again. It's
Yeah.
the whole family energy.
I mean, that's what happened to me, frankly, too. I thought I'm going to go to this thing and I'm going to help a friend of mine, and maybe I'll have a good time, maybe I won't, but I'm going to be there.
Now the truth
But
comes
I
out.
left.
Yeah, wow.
I left thinking, for 30 years I worked as a storyteller in the news industry. Here's this, entity developing called What's Your Story? I'm a storyteller. It's kind of a natural fit in a way. It's what interests me. It's what drives me. It just seemed to fit in, and I think that kind of happened with a lot of your speakers too. It just kind of came together, did it?
Right.
Did it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah. Well, I think you're onto something special, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Well, we're thrilled to have you on board. And so tell us a little bit about yourself. And so
Wow,
when are you
okay.
going to tell your story on stage?
That's maybe that will happen at some point. And in terms of myself, what I'm doing, I mean, I think that I was a news anchor and a reporter for many years, 30 years altogether in 4 different markets. I have taught storytelling at UNLV. I ran for office most recently, did not get elected, but that's okay. That has a purpose as well, and no regrets there. And now I'm on the cusp of starting my own business, which is going to be storytelling connected. Communication strategy and storytelling obviously is a big part of that. And I don't mind saying that you both are going to help me get this thing off the ground. And I feel excited about it. I've never thought of myself as an entrepreneur. I've helped many. In fact, I have some entrepreneur clients that I'm working with now, and I'm coaching them on their stories and on communications, effective communications. But I've never put myself in that category. And, after talking to both of you and realizing it's kind of what I'm doing, I just need to expand it and promote it properly. I'm actually very excited about this next chapter to see where it goes.
Me too. I'm excited for you, and it's so funny how like just God works. And so after our luncheon on Wednesday, so the board was talking, and one of the board members said, "You know what we really need is we need somebody that it has a business where these people that are potential candidates can go and learn how to talk and have a presence." And I was
Right.
like, "Hey, I know who that is."
Well, and the funny thing is, within the GOP party, I've been approached several times to help candidates, and I've actually worked with a couple already. But the unique thing about that is there are so many great people out there who would love to lead, but they've never been in front of an audience or they've never had any kind of camera training. This scenario here would put them over the edge, right? So I think I can help them get to where they're comfortable. I want to coach them, just recording them on my phone, interviewing them myself. And at first it'll be an easy, very comfortable situation. But then I'll go into an actual reporter mode and I'll start asking tough questions. And then we'll go back and review and see how they did and where can they improve. And really, it's about repetition. It's about just jumping in, doing it, and then all of a sudden you start to enjoy what you're doing.
Right.
You think about, as a child, you might have been afraid to ride the roller coaster, right? But your friends are nudging you and they're telling you, come on, you got to do it, you got to do it. You do it, you're terrified, but then when it's over, you're like, that wasn't so bad. I think I'm going to do it again. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And that's really what happens when you start to communicate and start to share your story. You start to realize that, people actually listen and it's actually fun and I'm getting something out of it. And, it grows from there. So, but no, I'm very, very excited about this connection, about what's your story, and about the next chapter in my life professionally. It's uncharted waters to a degree, but at the same time, exciting. Right?
Yeah, it's your time. I think, we spend our whole lives like crafting and getting, ourselves prepared for that moment when it's our turn to just step out into our greatness. And I think that's where you're at.
Oh, wow, greatness. We've
I agree.
elevated it already.
I am so excited to see what you're going to do because I know you're going to do
Well, thank you.
just amazing things. You have the experience, right? You just said 30 plus years, but you're genuine. I think that is really what makes a difference. Is it's not an act.
Right.
It's not something scripted. It's not your public face you put on. Because I've watched you on the news for years. I've just talked to you, one-on-one, phone, text, any kind of communication with you. You're the same. You're Gerard.
And I would encourage everyone to do that. If you think about, nobody likes the used car salesman, right? Nobody likes Better Call Saul. He's a great communicator.
It's a great show.
It's a great show. He's a fast-talking, quick-thinking, communicating attorney, but everything about him is shady and leaves you uneasy. And
True.
It's greasy and slimy from the beginning to the end.
Shower
right?
after you watch the show.
And so again, it's not so much the information. It's not what you say, but how you say it and how you communicate it. And that's where I think, there's a lot to learn in the news industry. I'll just share this briefly. We met often with consultants. There were consultants for writing, for producing, for image consultants. And literally they would critique how you dress, how you look, how you sound, your body language, all of this. We called them insultants, not consultants, because you would go in for 90 minutes and they would just rip you apart. But you really do, you need that third party, because if the only feedback you're getting is from your spouse and your parents, you're wonderful, right? You're never going to grow.
The yes men.
Right. So, people need that outside influence in order to understand, okay, this is an area that I can improve. And body language has a lot to do with it. There are, people say, well, how do you communicate? If you're communicating, communication is a two-way street, right? You have to be an active listener. What if you're the person speaking and it's an audience? Well, you look for body language, you look for people who look engaged, and you can focus on that person. There are little, I guess you can call them tricks, but for example, you can ask a question, how many people have ever been to the Bellagio? And you raise your hand, and people in the audience will raise their hand, and suddenly it's a two-way communication.
Mm-hmm.
One of the consultants said, when you say something positive, if you nod at the end of that, people will automatically nod with you.
That's true.
They're in agreement with you.
Right.
It's a cool and crisp day outside, but it's really nice. It really is nice. People will do that. And so these are body language tools that can help you be an effective communicator and an effective storyteller. So I'm happy to share what little I know with people, and most of it is, information that I've stolen from others, and I'm going to pass it on to somebody else, and that's how we all learn. So.
Well, I think what's great too about what you're doing is, I know we just talked about in the political realm, right?
Sure.
Coaching them. However, it applies to business owners and I
Right.
think any kind of leadership or management, because all this training that we're, for the media to be on camera, to be on a podcast, to speak in
Right.
front of an audience translates into their communication skills with their family, with their
100%.
employees, with their team. So you're adding value to them, not only just in their career, their, political life, it's throughout
Right.
everything they do and everyone they touch.
No, most corporations, most businesses have to have some sort of media strategy as well, because your words can carry liability. There's a lot tied into what if something happens at your workplace and it becomes a news story. How do you handle that?
Right.
I can coach some people on what to say, how to handle those kinds of things, when to say that sort of thing. But above and beyond that, and going back to what's your story, so many corporations now are realizing that they have a story as well.
Mm-hmm.
The story is the connector.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, a lot of businesses think, well, my story is whatever the About Us section is on the third or fourth page of our website.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you nobody reads those. Unless you're applying for a job there, then you might go try to find a couple tidbits
Right.
so that you have that information.
Mm-hmm.
But in everyday life, people will ask you, well, what do you do? Well, what is your business? And what I submit to you is that everyone should have an elevator pitch story about their business.
Absolutely.
Stories, in their purest form are a beginning, a middle, and an end. For a corporation, it could be, an attention grabber, a value proposition, and then, a close or a call to action. And you should be able to do that in 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
That's your story. Why should I care? And here's the value that I bring to you.
Right.
So all of this has been kind of going through my mind in various forms and formats over and over, but I'm glad I have you guys to coach me and kind of guide me along the way. So.
Well, we're glad to do it. I can't wait. I'm sure that you're going to, Kate, first of all, you can't get so busy that you can't help on what your story.
No. That's I have a couple priorities. There are a couple of clients that I have been working with, actually one for over a year. I'm committed to this for sure, and that client as well. I want to see these things succeed, and if I'm providing value, if I'm playing a role, that's going to continue. But and the beauty of, as I've heard from both of you, the beauty of having your own business is that you can schedule
Yes.
things around. I'm no longer tied to a corporate structure. I don't have to be at Channel 3 at 5 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon till midnight. All my weekends, all my holidays, all my nights, or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
So that part of this is exciting. 100%. The unknown, a little scary, but I think it makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah, I do too. I think it's a perfect blend. And, before you know it, we're going to be sending you out doing What's Your Stories on your own.
Oh, wow. I know we've talked about taking it on the road, and there's been some interest. So, that actually could be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to see where this grows and what the next steps are. And I know you've got a long potential list of speakers. You know, I can't wait to hear them. And some of the great ones that we've already heard from are going to come back and have
Yes.
committed, which is amazing because, like I said, I wanted more. You know, I wanted more from them,
Right.
and so we'll get a chance. And those
Yeah.
who have come before will get that chance.
Absolutely. Yeah, we already have people that want to buy tables. So
We do.
That's
exciting.
good. That's good. They're for sale, by the way. So we need to make it happen.
So if companies want to learn how to tell their stories to be more engaged with their customers, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm very easy to find on social media. I've been sort of a public figure for a long time now, so it's hard for me to hide. My name is very unique, Gerard Ramalho. You can look me up on Google, and my phone number is public. I have a website that's going to be in development, a new one about this business, but I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. You know, you could probably just Google my name and my phone number will come up, which I don't know if that's such a great idea. But yeah,
Probably not.
just call me or call, Missy or Michelle.
Yeah,
and
just
they'll,
call
they'll
me.
get in touch with me. So yeah. But no, thank you for that. This is great. I'm so excited to see what's happening with What's Your Story, and the feedback I heard was nothing short of tremendous. You know, the gentleman that you had on, I didn't meet him at the event, but we were chatting, as we were waiting to come on, and he was so. He was moved by it. He was moved by it, and I was too. I was like, yeah, I know. This is great. So I can't wait to see what happens next.
Awesome.
Us too.
Me too. All right. Well, thank you, Gerard, for joining us today. Thank you for being our new ambassador and partner
Thank
with
you,
What's Your
guys.
Story.
Let's do this.
Yes, let's do it.
Woo.
Thank you, Michelle. And that's a wrap.